All right, guys, take notes. It's a new year.
Right.
Great, everybody. It's 6 o'clock. Good evening. It's January 6th, 2025. It is our town reorganizational meeting. Would everybody please stand for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We have two meetings tonight. We have our reorganizational meeting and then we have a regular town board meeting. But first, I'd like to welcome our newest town board member, Dana Colleen Peterson. We're thrilled to have you.
Thank you.
Congratulations on your win and thank you for serving.
Thank you.
Look forward to having you.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
All right. The reorganizational meeting is going to be easy. I'm going to do a consent agenda. I'd like to ask for a motion for resolutions 2025-001 through 2025-030.
Motion.
Thank you, Chad. May I have a second? Thank you, Alan. I have a couple of amendments, but does anybody have any comments, questions, or let me make the amendments with regard to Resolution 2025-010, appointing planning and zoning attorney. I'm just noting here that the backup within this town board agenda is last year's contract. So you're approving this year's contract, which I reviewed. It's essentially the same. The fee's gone up $25 an hour, which is fine because they haven't raised it for several years, and they have acknowledged that they must bill us within 60 days, or we're not responsible. So that's just point number one. Point number two is regarding Resolution 2025-020. Appointments to the Rec Committee. Eleanor Kupko is the village representative, not Rick Lewitt. Are there any other amendments to the consent agenda? Any questions, comments, or concerns?
Second to the motion.
Alan seconded it.
Oh, we did, sorry.
So I guess I'll do it by roll call. Alan.
Aye.
Chauncey.
Aye.
Chad.
Aye.
Dana.
Aye.
And I vote yes. Consent agenda passes unanimously.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to close our reorganizational meeting.
Second.
Thank you. So moved. This is like Thanksgiving dinner. Clerk spends 2 months cooking it, and we eat it in like 4 minutes. So thank you, Joan. It was delicious. It looks easy, but there's so much work. Okay. I'd like to welcome everybody to our January 6th regular town board meeting. Should we do pledge again, everybody? Or are we pledge carry through?
We're good.
Sorry.
We're
All
fine.
right? I'd like, Donna, did you say something? Hi, Happy New Year.
Hi, Happy New Year. No, I just wanted to know if you already did the org meeting. You
Yes.
already finished? Yes.
Yeah, I said it's like Thanksgiving dinner. Joan spends 2 months cooking it, and we eat it in a minute. Okay, so welcome to our regular town board meeting. I'd like a motion to approve our prior minutes of our December 9th, 2024 regular town board meeting. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Alan. May I have a second?
Second.
Thanks, Chauncey. Are there any comments, questions, or concerns? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you. I have a couple of announcements, and then if anybody else does, that would be great. We are looking for people to volunteer for boards and committees. We need Conservation Advisory Board members, and Catherine Clark is stepping down from the ZBA, Zoning Board of Appeals, March 1, I believe, so we will need a new member for the Zoning Board of Appeals. Also, we have a full list on our website. I'll make sure it's updated. Please make sure that all dogs in Rhinebeck are on a leash and follow our leash laws. We'll have a discussion item about this later regarding my conversation with the sheriff and patrolling the park, because again, dogs are off leash in the park and we're getting many, many complaints. Please check with the building department before you do any projects on your property because you may need a permit. And that's it. Anybody else have anything? Okay. I need a motion for Resolution 2025-031 for the walking path at the Recreation Skate Park.
Motion?
Thanks, Chad. May I have a second?
Second.
Thanks, Dana, in your first motion here. Any comments or questions? Chad, you got to tell us anything, or are we?
We're gonna, this project will finish off some of the final details of the skate park, making paths to the pavilion as well as to the parking lot, connected to the skate park, and that's gonna happen probably before the end of winter, but.
They're going to work on it in the winter?
They may, it depends on March, but it'll be hopefully before the spring it'll get done.
Great. Great.
That's about it.
Thanks for getting this bid out.
Sure.
Excited to see that done. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Thanks again, Chad.
Sure.
I need a motion for 2025-032 for promotion of Ed Beeler to groundskeeper at the cemetery. May I have a
Motion.
motion? Thank you, Alan. May I have a second?
Second?
Thank you, Chad. Any comments, questions, concerns? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you. I need a motion for 2025-033 for the new cemetery fee schedule.
Motion. Second.
I'll take Chauncey as first and Alan as second. Thanks. Have you guys had a chance to review this?
Yeah. Sure.
What the cemetery committee and Suzanne proposed is that Rhinebeck residents pay one fee, that our neighbors, in this area, Ulster, Dutchess, Columbia counties, pay slightly more, but that people from New York City, Long Island, Westchester pay more. So what we're trying to do is our cemetery plots are selling briskly, let's say, and I think you pay, 3 times as much for a plot in Westchester or the city. So we're looking to balance it up, make it affordable for our residents and neighbors, and have a higher fee for that. I just wanted you to make sure that it's slightly above what the cemetery committee advised, but not much. And I'd like to try, if you guys are comfortable with
Yeah,
it.
fine.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Any comments, questions, concerns? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It passes unanimously. Thank you. I need a motion for 2025-034 for Justice Court Clerk Johnson to attend an annual conference.
Motion.
Thank you, Chauncey. I'll take Chauncey and Alan. Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you. We need a motion for Resolution 2025-035 to set the fee schedule for the short-term rental applications.
Motion.
Thank you, Alan.
Second?
Thank you, Chad. Any comments, questions, or concerns?
I have one comment on this, and I just wanted to point out that this is like a really high fee schedule for someone who's a casual host. And so I know that the whole short-term rental laws were revamped recently, and it's really not set up to encourage like casual or short-term hosts who are only doing this occasionally. And maybe we want to revisit that and have some little carve out for people who are like looking to just like have their place rented out for like 2 weeks while they go on vacation or something like that. And these fees would like not work with someone who's doing it other than kind of on a full-time basis. So I think I wasn't here for the short-term rental thing, and I don't want to gum up the works on that, but I just wanted to footnote that we might want to look at an exception that allows, I heard a lot of people saying they wished that they could rent out their house and go on vacation, but not like fully operate a full-time.
But they can't go on vacation if
Yes, that's
because
what I'm
they're not
saying.
on,
Right.
they're not on premises.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The STR laws as they're currently written kind of doesn't really allow like short-term minimal things, but we might want to revisit thinking about certain exceptions that are de minimis that allow people to kind of monetize a spare bedroom occasionally. And like these rates are like
I'm happy for you to work on this with, you know, with, what's his name? The guy I like a lot, who's our zoning administrator, Brian.
Yes.
Sorry, it's 2025. Just so you know, we have to pay our fire inspectors and our CEOs and our ZEOs work by the hour.
Yeah.
And we do need escrow, and that'll be
Yeah.
returned. And in Winecliff, you need a special use permit,
Oh,
so.
I totally understand. All I'm saying is, like, we might want to have a carve out for people who don't have to get a license if they do fewer than 7 nights a year or something.
Anybody?
I'm just footnoting this. It won't change
Okay.
anything, and I'm going to go ahead and.
Yeah,
vote
if you
for
want to
this.
work, you are elected and
Yeah.
free to work on whatever you want and bring it forward.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. Thanks. You know, we sort of, with these, Brian compared them to other towns around us, and let's see how it goes. And if fees are hurtful, we can, you know, probably bring down a teeny bit. Maybe it'll take less time, but we actually have to go and look at things. And honestly, this made me just reflect because of the fire recently where a family was killed, and there's a lot of responsibility when you license something as a hotel, and I don't know, I feel the weight of it. It's burdensome.
I completely understand. I see that, like, these are people going and looking at properties, and this is really important for safety. So the thing that I was thinking in my head is a typical Airbnb proprietor who's doing it full time, completely reasonable. People who are doing it a lot of the time, totally reasonable. But basically right now, we don't have it where people can do very short de minimis spurts. And maybe we don't want to do that, but I feel like there's not like a carve out or an investigation into that as at all.
If you want to propose something, I don't know how you guys feel, I'll look at anything. It took us a long time to get here.
Yeah, I don't want to minimize, because I know you guys really went across the goals on that, so, but I just wanted to point that out.
Fair
It's
enough.
like having an Airbnb myself, which we're not going to do going forward, but like this would represent like literally like half of the receipts for, that we do as like casual Airbnb per
You
year.
mean the fees?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, what's a better suggestion? Do you want to pass this and bring it back next week? Do you want to lower them a little bit?
No, I would say that we passed this, and I just wanted to say that I'm planning at some point to say, hey, let's work about some little carve outs.
So you're interested in an amendment to the law that would allow de minimis 2 weeks, 3
Yeah,
weeks,
yeah,
and someone's
like de
primary
minimis,
resident
yes.
when they're out of town
Yeah.
with someone all right, to be figured out.
Yeah.
And the fees are too high?
Well, I mean, if that person doing a 2-week de minimis thing is kind of if that's an exception we write into the law, then maybe that's an exception that doesn't do a license, and maybe that saves us from the expense of doing the licensing. Now, I fully understand this creates a new dilemma, because then how do you police that? If someone's listed as having an Airbnb, how are you going to check that they're only doing the de minimis? So I get that this is thorny and weird and awkward, and I'm going to vote to pass this, but I just wanted to say that it's on my mind that a lot of people were upset that they had like very, very minimal uses that they wanted to do that they felt were outlawed. And so I just wanted to explore that a little bit. But I wasn't there doing the hard work that you guys did, and so like
It was easy.
That's easy for you to say.
It was so easy.
Yeah,
It was
right.
hardly a crossword. Okay,
So,
well, thanks
that's
for your
all.
thoughts. Any other comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Thanks, Dana. I'll make a motion for Resolution 2025-036, 2025-037, and 2025-038, all the financials. May I have a second?
Second.
Thanks, Alan. Any comments, questions, concerns on any accounts payable abstracts or capital project abstracts? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. I'll make a motion for 2025-039 for budget transfers and amendments. I have a second. Thanks, Chauncey. Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Okay, tab 40. In here, we have just some backup material from Jewel community power. This is regarding our community choice aggregate, which we passed, gosh, July, Tony?
So,
A year ago.
A year ago.
So it's coming up for renewal. I've been getting a lot of communications from people who are upset that Central Hudson is now lower than the CCA power rate, which when we did it, we locked in, I think, 12 cents a kilowatt. And it was very competitive to Central Hudson. So we are locked into a 2-year rate at 12 cents a kilowatt, I think around 12 cents a kilowatt. The rate does not change and it's 100% renewable. During the past, I don't know, 2 years, Central Hudson's been everywhere from 21 cents to 5 cents. So they're in a dip now and people are upset. People can opt out whenever they want to and they can opt in. I think the recommendation is not to try and time the market, but people have been upset. And I guess this is sort of putting everybody on notice that we did opt into this for 2 years, a year and a half ago. It's coming up for renewal. We'll begin the process again, and I guess we'll see where the rates are. It seemed like a good idea at the time. It still does, but we'll see where the rates are. And an addendum to that, I've been getting scads calls from people who've been getting bills from Central Hudson with a $400 to $600 electrical delivery charge.
yeah,
So,
that's a problem.
Yeah, I want to encourage everybody to call the community, I forget her title, Brittany or Catherine at Sarahana Stressa's office. They're sort of spearheading the shenanigans going on billing at Central Hudson, and it's an issue. So it doesn't apply to the community choice aggregate. It's Central Hudson's
Way of billing.
or bilking.
Yes.
So that's sort of a discussion item. This will be coming down the pike, and we'll see where the rates are and what we do about this. A lot of people have been really happy about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just an option. You can always go back to.
We have opted you into this.
Yeah.
So we took people
Yeah.
out of Central Hudson and put them into this, and they can take themselves out of this and go back to Central Hudson.
I think that's always better.
Once we found out that, if you think you're already opted into Central Hudson, so we've opted you into something else.
Okay.
Just changes the default.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but you can do whatever you want to do. You just have to be more of a participant in your billing. I also just wanted to let everybody know that Bob Wyant and I had a meeting with Labella and Associates on the 2nd of January. They're the engineers doing the parking study for Rhinecliff. They've gone down twice and surveyed everything, and they came back with a bunch of recommendations for making some streets one-way where we can park. A lot of roads are way too narrow for parking. A lot of roads like Orchard can have parking if it's a one-way street. They have a lot of concerns about some intersections which are dangerous, like Orchard on the Rhinecliff. So we should have a plan ready in February to launch to the public and get everyone in Rhinecliff to put eyes on it. And I guess we could schedule an additional town board meeting or down there, or just an informal meeting with me and another board member and Bob, and however we want to work it, to go down and speak to everybody. But basically what this does, it outlaws overnight parking all year round in the hamlet, that to stop the hamlet from becoming a de facto parking lot for Rhinecliff. It allows parking for 2 to 4 hours in some areas, 15 minutes in other areas. And we are coming up with a mechanism whereby we can rent overnight parking places to Rhinecliff residents who do not have their own off-street parking. But the parking lot will be available during the day to everyone. So we're looking at all municipal laws and best practices of NICE safety and road usage. So that was good.
Thank you.
I have a couple other things. Anybody else?
Have you got any update on the status of South Mill Road?
Yes, which you did too. It was sent out, Bob Balkan, they won't have anything for us until April. They're doing the borings. They're working on it, and they won't have anything, they're still doing engineering.
That's an update.
Yep, 2025 fall foliage run. We had a little email kerfluffle going back. We have, I can't remember his last name, Matt, who does the fall foliage. And for the past few years, we've just had increasingly more complaints because of the, really the cluster mess in the neighborhood. And one thing occurred to me, that this is a company that's for profit, that's essentially running a marathon on our roads for profit. It's not the turkey trot for Ferncliff Forest. It's not, you know, something local and non-for-profit. We don't allow our municipal, our park or our waterfront to be used for profit. Why would we allow our roads to be used for profit? Dana had some points, some good points, I don't know if you want to.
Oh, yeah, I'm happy to share. You know, just to disclose, my family really enjoys this event. My husband runs it every year for the past decade. We have friends come up and stay with us and run the event too. I just think it's a really nice offering for us to have locally. It's a very healthy, family-focused kind of event. It's appropriate for all ages. And when I compare it with other things that are a really like unconscionable burden on us locally, like sheep and wool or Dutchess County Fair, where people can't get to the grocery store or commute for work for a prolonged period of time, I kind of feel like this is a de minimis burden to say, hey, for 2.5 to 4 hours, you're going to have to deal with some, traffic snarls, etc. And it's not that bad. I always drive because I drive to drop off runners and I drive to pick them up at the end. So I drive through the course while there are runners on it. I'm aware that, it could be improved, but it also seems like the main issues are lack of kind of strong communication from, I believe Fleet Feet Poughkeepsie is the runner of it. There's a lack of communication from them to warn people ahead of time that, hey, make some plans for this weekend. And potentially, if they are making some large profit off of this, and if we have expenditures related to, police presence or other security needs, then definitely it's something we should talk to them about changing the fees they pay in order to do this. But I think it's a really nice event. I think it's a really lovely thing for the town to be able to offer, and I think it's kind of a source of civic pride to be able to say, hey, yeah, come on up for the Rhinebeck Fall Foliage Half. It's a great chance to show off our town and how great it is. And these are great tourists. They're going to cargo load and go to bed early. They're not very rowdy or ruckus. So, not that I've ever gotten in a scuffle with a sheep and wool attendee, but they always have the knitting needle. So, but yeah, I think it's a lovely event, but I completely see that there are some issues that cause agita for local residents, and that it's a good idea to kind of look to the event organizers to see if they can mitigate some of those.
All good points. I guess I just go back to why are we allowing people to make profit off our infrastructure? We don't allow commercialization of our our waterfront park. We don't allow it at our park. Is it quality of life issue for our residents? And what is hi Bob.
Hi. I was just going to add, last March, the gentleman who runs this program stood right here, and I explained to him the lack of communication and the danger to the runners and drivers on the bend before the Mill Road Bridge.
Yeah.
And he said he would work on communication and he would have safety measures installed. On the day of the run, I went down to the Mill Road Bridge. There was no safety measures there. No one was there warning drivers or runners. And I spoke to one of the event moderators and I said, where is the staff that's supposed to be watching this bend here? And he goes, I don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
So much for his promise. that he would do something to correct the issues.
And we can't micromanage it. We either permit it or we don't permit it. There's also been comments about, well, the money goes here. We don't regulate when people donate money, you know. If we allow it for one person, we have to allow it for everyone. So do we want Matt to come to the meeting and talk to him, like in February, or?
Sure.
Yeah, that
It's just
sounds like a
this,
good idea.
it's just escalating more and more complaints, and everyone in the neighborhood is, I think, done with it.
I think it's good. I think it's good to bring it up and have a public meeting so we can kind of suss this out.
I should ask him to come in February.
Yeah, as well as the community get to know what's going on. And
Well, I
they
put the
wanna
neighbors who
Yeah.
are have been most vocal and, calling things to our attention on an email, and let's see what Matt has to say publicly. We can talk about it and decide where we want to go from there. But honestly, for me, what's most important is the quality of life for the residents of our town. I feel like we've done such a good job at being popular that we're a victim of our own success.
Yeah, I certainly
There's not
don't
a
want
moment of sleepiness in this town. It's just like one more event, really. But that's, whatever we decide. So I'll ask him to come in
Great.
February. I forwarded you guys a bunch of stuff on good cause eviction. It's something that New York State is passing or looking to pass. It's something that we can opt in and out of. I'm waiting to see if residents have any thoughts about it. It's not something I personally want to push forward right now. I want to see if anything happens in the village. I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know. I just raise it that it's out there. We can sort of post the white paper from our senator and assembly person on our website. I know that people have or are going to the village board to ask for them to consider it. I just bring that to your attention. And I did talk to Sheriff Kurt Imperati, Dutchess County Sheriff. We had a lovely talk. And they have plenty of labor for us to hire I think it's a minimum of a 4-hour shift. I might be wrong, anywhere from $30 to $60 an hour plus mileage for additional traffic patrolling. When we codify our parking lot in Rhinecliff, that and dogs at the park. So I'll get something before us. I think we're going to have to look at fees for off-leash dogs in the park. I'm sorry, people who want your dogs to run in the park. Our insurance company doesn't want us to. Winnicky, who holds the easement on the park, says no, it's bad for wildlife. And most of the people say no. So I don't think it's going to happen unless one of you guys want to push it forward. I think we're pretty united on this. The dogs must be on leash. So we're going to get some extra patrolling.
And look at fee changing on,
I think so.
Yeah.
Fining.
yeah, the
Fine,
finding of it
fee.
and how it's structured, and
I'll bring something up at the next meeting.
that's important, I think.
We also need a dog control officer, so we're going to put an ad out in the paper. We need 2 people only to respond to calls. February. Okay, so we've got Matt for the marathon and dog fines. I don't think I have anything else. Does anybody have anything else? Anybody had any comments, questions, concerns? Donna, Eleanor?
Go ahead.
Yeah, mine is very short. On the CCA, I'm just curious because Central Hudson's not 100% renewable. So even though it's lower, maybe people still, I live in the village, just, and so I'm just speaking as an interested person because, yeah, and so that might be something to bring out, what.
That's why we did it, because
No, I know you
it's 100%
did.
renewable, it's a locked-in rate.
But people are forgetting that.
Some
And
people
so-
just don't, it doesn't.
No, I
matter.
get it, but I mean, I think, I looked at my last Central Hudson bill, and the electricity portion was so tiny compared to the Central Hudson portion, that even a big increase isn't going to make that big of a difference.
Thank you,
So-
it's a good point.
So-
Yeah, the delivery charge is what's killing everybody,
Yeah.
not the, yeah, that's a good point, thank you. Donna?
Is this public comment?
Yes,
Okay,
there's public comment
do I
anytime
have
you
to
want.
stand up?
You can do whatever you like.
I'll just do it from here.
Okay.
I came tonight to ask for some clarification on next steps with Locust Hill. I mean, many of us were prepared to come to the planning board meeting and didn't quite understand what is to ensue. Can you clarify
Yes,
that?
it's all on our website.
Is
This
it?
is a different, Warren did a white page on all the steps. This is a very different process than what the town board and the planning board are used to doing, because the town board is lead, not the planning board. So we have accepted a concept plan. And before we adopt a law laying down the overlay for this workforce housing district on this property, we need comments from the planning board. And we need those comments so that we can address them in the local law. We will give variances within the local law so that the developer does not have to seek variances from the zoning board of appeals, because we have worked for 2 years with them on this plan, and I don't mean to sound flip, but we're aware that the buildings are 5 foot higher
Yes.
than what we allow, and that's okay with us, because we needed to do what we needed to do to get the best project. So we need comments from the planning board so that it can be considered and addressed within the law that we lay down. So that's what we're waiting for, planning board comments.
So that is what you're waiting for to come
Yes.
back. So there is no public hearing at the planning
There
board?
can't be a public hearing
Right.
at the planning board until after we have laid down the local law, and then the planning board does their site plan review. The planning board can't essentially ask the developer to throw this whole thing out, because we've worked on it and we've approved it. It's a much lesser, it's a lesser responsibility on the planning board than for other projects. It's totally unlike anything they do. We're the lead, we did the environmental review. We're asking for their comments on our concept plan. Am I stating this correctly? And we're happy with it.
And then your next step would be what?
To lay down the local law for the workforce housing overlay on this property with specific requirements or allowances for the project. For example, it's 40 feet high. The sidewalks are X amount from the roads, not X amount, as worded in our neighborhood standards. We will be giving variances specific to the project within the overlay of the law. But I'll give you an example. The planning board looked at it, and one comment that, because Melanie and I talk, is like, there's no place for kids to wait for the school bus. So we're like, you're right. So what we did was we said that we would accept it as a town road so that school buses could travel up and down. And we talked to the developer. He will build the road to our highway superintendent's specifications. We will accept it as a town road, and there will be school buses, because it's good for the project, and we want families to live there, and we want kids to get on the bus and go to school. So the planning board will see things that we don't see, and they'll hopefully call it to our attention, and we can do it.
Well, as you know, I mean, I and many, many, many other people are very hopeful that this will have shovels in the ground, as was intended in somewhere around March.
It's a process, and it takes what it takes.
It
to
takes
get
what it
right.
takes,
Yeah,
okay.
And we need the planning board's comment.
Okay.
We value their eye, and they know a lot more than we do, so.
And I apologize, I haven't been on the website recently, so there is a new document from Warren. Oh, no, it's the
Warren laid it
original.
out at the beginning.
Okay.
And it's kind of different
Okay.
for all of us. It had been so long, I forgot. I had to go back during the holidays and reread everything, because there's no muscle memory here. We've never done this
We don't
before.
do-
So,
Thank you.
sure.
Very helpful.
Anything else from anybody?
What's done?
No.
I'm just a little concerned if you start chipping away at the STR law and start making exceptions for one consideration or one issue, then why won't other people want to come and have exceptions? So you worked so hard on this law. Why don't we let it go as it is and keep it and then wait before we start making changes and adjustments? Because again, I think you're going to weaken the law.
Well, you know how I feel about SPRs, so thank you. We're a board though, so, and we work well together. So if Dana has an idea, she needs this space to bring it forward and be heard. But I appreciate it. Anybody else? Comments, questions, concerns? Well, thank you for your first meeting. It's great to have you. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, good night, everybody. We'll see you, see you in a couple of weeks. Yes, the end of January. Good night.